Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Boost Agility and Mitigate Manufacturing Disruption with Low Code. Our goal today is to provide you with beneficial insights that will help you get the most out of your enterprise technology investments. Our agenda includes a brief introduction to Ultra Consultants, QAD, and our presenter for today's presentation. We'll quickly move on to the main event, a thoughtful discussion with insight on low-code technology. Then we'll share some additional resources available to the audience before moving on to Q&A during the last 5 to 10 minutes of the session. I'd like to take a brief moment to let you know that Ultra Consultants is serving as your host today and tell you a little bit more about who we are. Since 1994, manufacturers and distributors throughout North America, as well as companies with global operations, have teamed with Ultra as trusted advisors and industry best practice experts to guide them through their business process improvement and enterprise technology transformation journeys. As independent ERP consultants, our team is part of our clients' organization, working shoulder to shoulder with ERP project teams throughout the country. Being a vendor independent consulting firm means two main things. First, we're your partner for guiding you in your vendor education and selection, and that's where we help you get to know in depth the enterprise software vendors and implementation practices that are best for your company and your unique project needs. Second, we are also your partner for helping you discover how to make improvements throughout your organization using your chosen technologies. Please feel free to reach out to me if you'd like to learn more about Ultra, or you can visit us at ultraconsultants.com. We have a special guest joining us today from QAD, so I'd like to tell you a little bit about QAD. They are a leading provider of next-generation manufacturing and supply chain solutions in the cloud. Their solutions help customers in the automotive, life sciences, consumer products, food and beverage, high-tech, and industrial manufacturing industries rapidly adapt to change and innovate for a competitive advantage. QAD was founded in 1979 and is headquartered in Santa Barbara, California, with 30 offices globally. Over 2,000 manufacturing companies have deployed QAD solutions to become an adaptive manufacturing enterprise. This is Kristen Renda, Marketing Program Manager at Ultra, and your moderator for today's webinar. I'm very happy to introduce today's special guest expert, Etienne Ouvry, Senior Consultant with QAD. Hello, and Etienne has more than 30 years of experience working with automotive and industrial manufacturers worldwide. At QAD, he is the global business consultant for some of QAD's premier automotive customers. He is responsible for ensuring that QAD's global accounts improve their operational performance. Etienne, welcome and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
All right, so let's get to the main event, Boost Agility and Mitigate Manufacturing Disruption with Low Code. I'll be asking Etienne a series of questions about low code with a focus on the practical applications of the technology for manufacturing organizations. Etienne, to get us started, can you provide some insight into the real-world challenges that low code can solve?
Yeah, sure. Let's take an example, a real example we had several times with our QAD customers. Okay, so you need to have a quick answer to a real event or a real problem you get on a day-to-day basis. So let's pick an example. Let's pick an example of components, manufacturing with electronic components. So let's go to the real case. So this is a real case where you get suppliers and they are delivering to you, to your plants, to plant 1 and plant 2, and a limited number of components. So instead of delivering the 20,000 expected, they will deliver only 5,000. So what do you need is to handle it and to allocate these 5,000 components to plant A and plant 1 and plant 2. So what's going on here is you need to find out, the customer demand for the future. And according to the customer demand, and allocate the components for the customer demands, and then calculate the plant, the number of components allocated for each plant they will delivering the goods to the customers. So that's a calculation. It's not available yet in the adaptive ERP. So what you need to do is a key user needs to do a rapid analysis and first find out if it's available or not in the ERP, current ERP. If it's not, they will need to think about to develop a quick application, okay? So a quick low code. So what they do is they say, okay, first, let's develop a mockup, okay? Quick mockup on fully integrated in the ERP, okay? And then through few iterations, few tests with the key users, they said, okay, let's go. So that's good to go. And in few days, they are able to deploy the application to the day-to-day operation, okay, through the same menu. So the thing is, in this case, what the key user will do is they will create a new field, you know, in the low-code application. So they will create a new field. Then after the new field, they will add some formula for the calculation of the allocation, okay? And then probably they will calculate and display this information for the day-to-day operation, okay? So that's why this could be quick and for unexpected challenges. So quick answer, mockup and deploy.
All right, thanks for that. Got another question here for you. Can you explain low code for those on the call that might be new to low code technology, and what exactly is low code?
Yeah, so for sure, it's a low code, it's an enterprise platform. So it means fully integrated to the existing ERP and give you the ability to develop a quick application, okay? So it means really, you get, as we said, we get an event, you need to answer to this new demand, and you need to develop quite quickly the new apps with a new transaction, one or several transactions. So let's pick an example. Let's go step by step for an example. This is an example of a company making, you know, the plastic films. So making a master roll of plastic film, and then they need to slit according to the customer demand. Okay, so they take a master roll as in a yellow on the screen, and they slit, and they of course need to optimize, okay, to make sure they don't have a lot of scrap in the slitting process. So this is what happened is what you do as a first step is first you go through the sales order entry. Okay, and you say, oh yes, but we don't have enough information on the sales order entry about the length, width, some characteristic asked by the customer. So what you do is you first start to develop a low code, no code, even it's no code here, is where you get you add a two new field in as an extension to the sales order entry, length and width. So automatically in the background, the system will create table and field in a system fully integrated in the ERP. Okay, so that's the first step. So you get on the extension, it's non-intrusive, so you don't modify at all the QAD sales order entry, so nothing. You just add an extension, and every time the operator will key a sales order, the system will ask him as a tab, a new tab, dimension, whatever the dimension asked by the customer, length and width. That's the first step. Okay, so that's the second step is, yes, but you need to calculate the optimization, okay, how to slit a master roll. So what you do is you will create a new app, fully new app, no code. It means you will tell the system, this is the field we'll need, okay, for the calculation. Then you will add some formula behind, you know, like formula, like you get a formula in a spreadsheet, same process, okay? So if you know a spreadsheet, you can add the formula in the enterprise platform, and then you will do your calculation. So it means you will pick one master roll from the inventory, like that one. So it's a ALCO plan. It's coming from this side. It's coming from the standard inventory inventory system in the inventory functions. Then the system will display the length of the master rolls and the width. And according to the length and width, and according to the sales order requirements, the system will calculate what you need to slit and what will be remaining. So up to you, this is a calculation done automatically. Okay, and then you can modify if necessary to say, yes, I need to optimize because I need to better optimize because I know that this customer will order the same thing in 2 weeks time. So let's go for another, let's modify slightly the calculation. So after you have get your numbers, okay, to calculate what needs to be slitting out of the master roles. So the third step is you have the ability to trigger a QED transaction. This is a low code, we'll see why, because you can trigger and say, yes, after deciding what you need to, how you need to slit, and what about the length, etc. What the system is able to do is you will trigger automatically a production order. So the system will create a production order according to the slitting dimension, etc. So the operator at the shop floor will get all the instruction. Why I put here in low code? Because you will need some instruction in JavaScript to call the APIs, so the application interface, to call the production order. So this is a benefit of this low code, no code is you can retrieve information from the ERP, adaptive ERP. You can update any transaction in the system. And if you give, of course, the good information, the system will create the regular production orders. So at that time, you have created a brand new transaction, non-intrusive, because you extract data, you update a standard transaction without modifying any standard transaction in the QED. So that's the benefits. And then this new app will show up as in the menu. Okay, and say, yes, you have access to this new transaction to get the slitting optimization. And then when you press the button production order, the system will create a standard production orders. Okay, so that's the way we create any new transaction, new app in the QED. Okay, let's go for the next step and say, how does the low code work with ERP? As we have seen an example, is the good news is it's fully integrated. So you will retrieve existing data from the ERP. You can manipulate the data and then update some standard transactions such as a production order, shipping, and etc. So any transaction could be accessed to from the low code, no code platform, enterprise platform. So this is an example of already low-code transaction that have been done. So the first one on the left side is a fixed asset. So what you do is that the header is when you do some audit of your fixed asset, you get all the information about the address of your fixed asset, etc. So the user wanted to have the map. Where is it physically located? So instead of reinventing the wheel, so we've got just to send in the extension of the standard transaction. We just send to the Google Map APIs the address, and we get back all the graphic information. And this graphic information is fully integrated in the transaction. So for the key user, for the day-to-day operator, for the day-to-day user, they will just access to the fixed asset address, and automatically they will get the Google Map address, and with the red point, where is the asset located. Okay, so that's the first application. The next application on the right side, it's planning, so transportation planning. So same process, you get in QED the transaction for shipping. It's called a shipper. So when you get a shipper, you would like to know, yes, this is the total weight for the shipper, this is the volume, but you would like to know exactly it will fit in the truck. So you'll get the different colors, so different size boxes, containers, and then the system will fill up the truck, and the system will tell you, yes, your trailer floor utilization is 76%. So probably I need to optimize, and I will modify the shipper to add more boxes to be sure the truck is full, it's 100% utilized. Last time I was on site in Sweden, so we opened the truck was half empty. And the plant manager told me this, do you think I'm happy to pay, for half empty truck? Okay, because I'm paying for the truck. So that's the answer is no. So this is an example of case where people are really wanted to optimize. And as Christian was mentioning, is it should be a quick response and very easy to use for everybody. It should be graphic, color-coded, etc. Okay, so this is a second application. And the third application is an interesting one. It's a kind of Gantt chart, with the production orders. But this is an example where we didn't develop from scratch. We just had, the download some application from a site called Telerik.com. This is a subsidiary. It belongs to a Progress company. And they provide a bunch of the library with existing programs. So this is an example. You type a Gantt chart and you will get a Gantt chart in code, so you can include and start to work with it. So it's easy and quite quick to deploy. So for the company.
Thank you, Etienne. All of this stuff sounds really great. How can organizations get started with low-code technology?
Okay, so thank you, Christian. That's a great one, because every time people say, yeah, that's a good tool, but who will have access to this technology? Who will be able to deliver this new app, etc. So the good thing is QED as efficient answer is very simple. Is you bring your people on site or remotely for a 3 days training. Okay, it's a really hands-on training on the low-code platform, enterprise platform, where we learn how to build an extension to existing one, how to build a brand new application. So this is part of the hands-on. So when the user are back, key user, so it means the people are, the profile is a key user of application plus IT to make sure that they understand the implication for in the architecture of the company, the system architecture. This is the first step. Then when they are back to their company, they start to build their, kind of mock-up. They build some 2 or 3 applications to make sure that everything is okay. Then they will get the benefit of, they get the support of QAD. And after that, they are ready to develop their own application. So we have an example where a multinational brought 20 people at the QED headquarters. So we went through the 3 days training, and after they went back and say, yes, let's start to build our application. And we said, do you need any help? There's no, thank you. We are good. So we have already started to develop. We are fully independent to develop the new application. So that's a good example where you don't need a heavy training to develop and to roll out a new, to deploy a new application.
Perfect. Thank you for that. We'll be moving on to Q&A in just a moment. Appreciate those insights. So if anyone has any questions, you still have time to send those in. As promised, I'd like to share some additional resources that are available to our audience today before we move on. The first is Ultra's latest ebook, Building the Case for Your ERP. This step-by-step guide will walk you through the process, help identify the key considerations, and offer insight into the potential benefits and risk of a new ERP solution. I'd also like to bring everyone's attention to the white paper from QAD. It is called Introducing the QAD Enterprise Platform. It is a QAD leadership white paper for the global manufacturing industry. I will send everyone an email following today's session with links to these free downloads, as well as a link to the recording of the session. So time for Q&A. Etienne, I do have a question for you. So we got this one in. As a manager, I make quick decisions from exception reports on my mobile phone. Can I get company-specific apps on my mobile?
That's a good point. This is a trend, when we are presenting, demoing, demonstrating the product to a new company, we get a new Millennium in the assembly, and the first thing they ask is, say, hey, does it work on my mobile? And the answer is yes. All the transaction, the adaptive ERP are working on the mobile, and when you develop a new app, it will be available on your app, on your mobile. So the thing is, of course, sometimes you need to develop, a more efficient way of watching, the information, such as a truck load, for example. And but everything you've developed will be available on the mobile. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. That's a new trend right now. It's absolutely must be on a mobile. Mm-hmm.
I agree. All right. So our next question, what is the profile required to develop a new app?
That's also a good one. This is a question asked many times, when they start the training, who will need to be attend the training? As we have said, the key people who are developing today the low-code app are the key users. So first is, it should be a key user who knows very well the application, your enterprise application, and who knows very well also the business and the application, to make sure that you are developing something doesn't exist already in the applications. That's the first step. And then, of course, we have seen is we need to develop, some JavaScript expertise for all the API connection. Okay, but for the what I've done in the past is we use some people, with a JavaScript, with just knowing very well the JavaScript. They don't need to know the application, how it's architecture, etc. How the architecture is working, how it works with the full application. But be sure they know very well the JavaScript, and then they can call quite easily the APIs.
Like we are coming to the end of the webinar. I will send an email tomorrow morning, and that's going to include the link to the recording as well as the ebook and white paper that I showed you just a moment ago. From all of us here at Ultra, thank you to everyone for joining us today, and thank you to our guest, Etienne Oubry, for sharing his expertise. We wish everyone a great rest of your day, and we will see you at the next webinar.